crafting friends! Today I'm going to be doing the tutorial for the Canvas tote bag. So this is a pretty large tote bag and you could use napkins, you could use tissue paper, you could use the decoupage paper. Today what I'm going to be using is I'm actually going to be using our full color decoupage tissue. This is the Isaiah one that comes like this, and it is a full sheet. It's a 20 by 30 sheet. It's Isaiah 43, 18, 19. So the whole sheet looks like this, and I'm only going to be using a portion of it. But that's what I'm going to be using today. But again, you could use a napkin. You could use, you can actually use fabric on this as well. But that's what I'm going to be using today. So some other things, if you're following along, what you'll need is you will need either, I like to use a plastic bag to smooth it out, Ziploc bag, saran wrap, anything like that. You also will want something to put on the inside of your canvas as well. And that's so that as we're using the Mod Podge, it doesn't stick together on us. So what I chose for today is I just got some parchment paper that I had in the kitchen. So I'm gonna stick that inside of it. And my bag that I'm using does have a fold, so I want to make sure that because I'll be doing the full front of this, I want to make sure that I get this to the edges. And I'm going to be considering, hopefully you can see this. This is the back that has the tag. So I want to put that in there. You could use a piece of cardboard as well. Just anything that's going to make it so that our adhesive does not stick to itself as it dries. So we want to protect that. So we'll get that set up, and it doesn't have to be perfectly flat on that because we'll fix it later when it dries. Okay, the other thing that I'm going to have today obviously is my brush. I'm gonna have my water. I also have a little spray bottle of water that I'm gonna be using with the tissue paper today because I am using decoupage paper and I am using it on fabric. And then I have my Mod Podge. And for this project, I am gonna be using fabric Mod Podge. However, you can use regular Mod Podge as well. I've used both. And I've had success with using both. I'm just gonna be using the fabric today on this. And I will show you at the end another canvas project that I used a napkin on that I used regular Mod Podge on. So you'll see that it doesn't make a huge bit of difference, but I have a ton of this fabric Mod Podge left, and so I want to use it. So I just figured I'd use that today. So I don't want you to get hung up if you don't have fabric Mod Podge. It doesn't matter. It just makes it a little bit softer as the Mod Podge dries. And I never say Mod Podge right, so if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize to those people that correct me on the videos. Have grace, I can't say it right, I'm sorry. But that's what I have today. And as always, I forgot my scissors, let me grab. I may or may not be needing them. Because I'm doing this bag and it is like kind of a perfect square, I think I might be doing a square. And I'm probably gonna use my mat today. So I am gonna kind of see what this measures, and we're pretty close to 13 by 14. So let me see where this ends up on here. So I am just gonna line up. Bummer, my words are gonna get cut off there, but I don't wanna lose the butterfly. So Mama Kitty says hi. Hi, Kitty. She's so, hi, Kitty. You can't jump up here. I got too much stuff. She doesn't say hi very often. So I'm just using my mat here. I'm going to cut this and see. I'm just cutting right through here. And it looks like we're going to lose some of the words here too, and that's okay. because I just kind of like how it's going to end up. And you could layer different patterns on this. You could layer different things. She may jump up here. I don't even know. It could get crazy. What, kitty? I think she wants to say hi. You could layer different patterns. You could layer different papers. You could do all kinds of, make it as creative or as fussy or simple as you want. I'm just going to keep it really simple today because I do like to make my projects so that they are easy for everyone to do. So no matter your skill level, you can do them. All right, so I'm just trying to see how we did on this. And it does look like I can cut some more off the top and the side. So I am gonna give it a little haircut here. Now I could with my, probably be easier to do with my paper cutter. Than it would be to do it like this. And you could tear it if you wanted it to be a little bit less perfect. But I'm just gonna see where we're at here. Okay, I think we've got a good here. I did undercut it a little bit, and I am nowhere close to having a perfect square. Probably should have used my paper cutter. Okay, I'm just lining this up to see where we're at, and I do see my issue. I'm not very good at cutting in a straight line. I think I've relied on my paper cutter way too much. I use it a lot. But that's okay. I have a whole closet full of ribbon we can use to fix our edges. And so that is what we will do. All right, so when I'm lining it up, I want to make sure that I at least have enough to cover the middle. If we get it too small, that's good. Too big is not going to work because you can kind of see, maybe you can see, that it is going over on the edges here, and that part isn't going to work because it'll be over the edges here. So I still need to cut some off this side over here. So this is what we do. We just keep playing with it until we get the size that we need. It's going to work. Or you go get your paper cutter. There we go. Okay, so now, okay, and I am gonna go grab a little, some scraps of ribbon. Let me see what I got in here. I got a whole little pile of scraps. So I'm just gonna grab those because I do know I am gonna need to add some little edging here at some point. Cover up that spot. All right, so this is good, good, good. I am gonna use a little bit of larger brush today because this is a larger area that I need to cover. So you don't wanna use a real tiny brush if you're working a bigger area. If you are worried about wrinkles or if these are bugging you, you can iron this out first to make it a little bit easier to work with. I'm not as concerned about it today for the sake of time, so I am just gonna work with it as is. And then one of the things that you can do with the paper that will help, especially when you're working on the cloth, is we can actually spray it first. But before I do that, I am going to cover my area with Mod Podge first. So we are going to, I haven't opened this in a minute, and it is a little trying to stick to the top there. All right, make sure our brush is good. Okie dokie. My brush has seen better days. Please tell me I'm not the only one that has the brushes that are looking a little sad. Probably time to go buy new brushes. All right, if you are using the fabric Mod Podge, you probably noticed that it does have a little bit of a thicker consistency. It is not as runny, per se, as the regular Mod Podge. When I've used it to put it in kits, I have to use like a pottery spatula, and I have to like scrape it out, like almost like frosting. It's very weird. I wasn't expecting that the first time I used it in a kit, and I was like, whoa, this doesn't pour out. I was gonna like literally you can, it's like a, you know when you go to Dairy Queen and you get your Frosty, or not your Frosty, that's Wendy's. When you go to Dairy Queen and you get your, what do you call that thing? Your Blizzard, and they like hand it to you upside down. It's literally like that. I don't know if you can see it, but it doesn't move at all. Like you would not do that with regular Mod Podge because it would spill out everywhere. Like this stuff doesn't move. It's just like, it's a thicker consistency. So I'm just working it from the outside in. I'm just doing a nice even layer, and I want to make sure I'm getting to the edges, and then I'm just kind of pulling it in. And just working around the edges and then pulling it in. You want to make sure you do get the inside. So you don't get those bubbles. And you're just getting a nice layer all the way around. Okay, I just want to make sure I did get the edge down here. All right, I don't want to play with it too much because I do want to make sure that it's not drying on me. Okay, so I've got a nice even layer. I am going to take my tissue paper and I'm just going to lightly mist my tissue, and then I'm going to do my best to center it. And then I am going to work it from the center out. Okay, now I've got it pressed in there pretty good, but I am going to take my plastic bag because I do not want my hands to tear that paper. So now I'm just further working it from the inside out and pressing it in. To that fabric. I absolutely love the way that this tissue works into the fabric. Again, we don't need to worry about if it's exactly perfect on the edges because we are gonna take some, I flung the cap to my little water. I'll get it later. Hopefully I don't forget that. We are gonna take some edges and we'll clean up the edges with some ribbon. But you can see I kind of went a little bit over here. You know, it moved a little bit. So we can trim that off. Be careful not to cut your bag. But we've got that nice and flat. So you can see how we've kind of pressed that in there nice and flat. And so now, ideally we would want to let that dry. Again, if there's any like wrinkles you don't like, you can just keep working it a little bit. Be gentle. Again, you do want to probably use some type of plastic to protect it. If you don't want to be working it with just your hand because you could tear the paper or rip through the paper, or if it's stuck on your hand, it could tear it. I just love how this tissue works with the fabric so well. It's just, I love it. But the next thing that we would want to do is to go ahead and finish the edges. So again, I would just take some of my fabric here and I could do any one of these. If I wanted to bend it around, I could do a more finished edge. This on the inside. Just depends on what kind of look I want to go with here. I've got a couple of these darker ones. Might go with that one. All right, I do have my glue gun plugged in over here just in case. I didn't mention that at the beginning, but always good to have the glue gun plugged in. You never know when you're gonna need it. All right, so I'm just gonna tack this up here. So I'll probably just tack it, and then after I get off the tutorial, you know, I'll finish it all up and make it look super cute. But I'm just gonna tack that. Just gonna run a small seam down here. The ribbon right along the edge here. And this is just to give it a more finished edge. Again, you don't have to do this if you did different patterns, or maybe you just did a single pattern. I'm gonna lose my Isaiah on the other side by doing this ribbon, but that's okay. Alrighty. Right, I'm gonna go under, I'm leaving it so I can go under this side. So that this one's tacked under. I don't want my, I don't want my seam showing. stretching across the bottom. I think I'm trying to stick that thing in there backwards. That's why it doesn't want to go in there. Again, we're just running this ribbon across the bottom. And then I will tuck the end. Is it long enough? Ooh, look at that, how it worked out. I think I might actually do a different one on the top. Should have run that under it. I might have a different idea for that. Alright, I'll put it on top. Oh, you know what? I forgot I have some coconut buttons. See? Just make it up as I go. I can hide those with some coconut buttons. Alright, so that's what I'll do. See, I'm just making it up as I go here. Alright, so we'll tuck this under the top here. And we'll run that across the top. I know, I got a lot going on. Wrapping this one on the bottom. Alright, I'll get this one started here. Now you want to make sure that you leave some at the top so you can wrap it around the back. I got strings everywhere. I was reading something, I don't remember if it was on Facebook or somewhere, about freezing your glue sticks or something and then you don't get the strings. Did I imagine that? Alright, I'm just putting a little on the inside here so that stays down. Okay. Here we go. Layering it down. Layering it down. Alright, we're getting there. I got glue strings everywhere. Okay, I'm gonna cut the little tail off here. And I'm gonna wrap that around the bottom. Now, I'm not too concerned what the bottom looks like because I'm using the bag, it's going on the ground. If you are concerned, I would wrap the tail underneath this piece then, and so that you don't see it. Okay, as you can see, this is drying, it is sticking, but once it's completely dry, it'll just peel that whole inside off and you won't have any issues. But that is why we stick that in there, because you can see it's gonna wanna stick to itself as it's drying if we don't have something else in there. Okay. And I'm just gonna grab another glue stick. Okay, dokie. All right, so I'm gonna add this little piece across the top because I just want something a little more decorative. Oops, forgot to put my brush in my water after I was done with my Mod Podge. This is gonna get a little bit tricky because it is, there's not a lot here to attach the glue to. And I do have my glue gun is a low temp glue gun, but it still kind of hurts when you glue yourself. It's not super painful, but it's not fun either. It's not my favorite. Okay, so I got brown on brown on brown going on here, but here's where we're at. And then to cover up my little corners here, I just got these little coconut buttons that I'm just gonna stick in the corner. And that's gonna, well, before I do that, I'm just gonna trim my little hangy downy little, got some stragglers. All right, and then I'm just gonna blob a big old blob of glue on one of these. And I'm gonna stick it right in the corner. And I'm just gonna do the same with the other one. And that's gonna clean up those corners so that I don't have just those naked corners with the stuff coming up. So I think I'm happy with how it turned out there. So we're gonna let her dry and then I'll pull the stuff out, but that is going to be my little tote bag. So again, that's just done. I have like strings everywhere. I'll get this all cleaned up and take a picture of it. But that is the little canvas tote bag done with the Decoupage tissue and obviously just some scraps I have laying around here. And then as promised, I'll show you this other one I did. This is just a little canvas gift bag that I did with, I just have it stuffed with some packing stuff here so you can see, but this is just a little gift bag that I did with a napkin, and this is the regular Mod Podge. So I'll kind of show it up. You can see it has, this is the, I think this is matte Mod Podge, but you can see this is just a napkin. And so you can see that it does dry transparent. You can see right through it. So it works as a napkin as well. And again, this is the exact same material, just a little bit slightly different color. So a napkin could work just the same on this and you're gonna have the same result. So it doesn't really matter if you use the fabric or not. It's just gonna be a little bit stiffer, where this is gonna be a little bit softer. But again, this we used the full tissue paper on, and this is a napkin. So the paper is a little bit different, but those are two options that you could use. So again, thanks so much for joining the tutorial today. Don't forget, if you do use any of our napkins or papers, to tag us on social media at Christian Craft Paper so we can feature you in our newsletter, email newsletter, or on social media. If you're not in the Facebook group, I invite you to join us at Christian Craftaholics on Facebook. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy crafting!